everyone, I'm Sav and this is Lagom Eats. Today I'm going to show you how to make the most, I'm going to be like Gordon Ramsay, the most amazing. Hey everyone, I'm Sav and this is Lagom Eats. Today I'm going to show you how to make the best dressing for your Thanksgiving dinner. Dressing, or as I tend to call it, stuffing, is actually my favorite part of the meal. We're going to be making a classic sausage stuffing with a few extra add-ins, but we're keeping it pretty basic because simple is always best when it comes to dressing. Let's take a look at the ingredients. We're going to need half a pound of a French loaf, half a pound of cornbread, half a pound of sausage, 1 tablespoon of chopped rosemary, 1 tablespoon of thyme leaves, 2 tablespoons of chopped sage, 1 apple, 1 onion, 1 carrot, 2 stalks of celery, 3 to 4 cups of chicken stock, half a cup of melted butter, and salt and pepper. Let's get cooking. So this recipe is kind of based on my mom's stuffing. Like I said, my favorite part of the Thanksgiving meal is stuffing because my mom always made the most amazing stuffing. So I actually haven't been with my family for Thanksgiving for about 6 years now. I've been going to my husband's family's Thanksgiving. The first year that I went, they were gonna make box stuffing. And I was like, no, you can't make box stuffing. Let me bring the stuffing. It's gonna be way better. So I ran to my mom. I was like, how do I make this stuffing? You make amazing stuffing. She was like, well, I don't know. I just kind of like throw things together. I was like, well, that's very unhelpful. But she kind of helped me with the ingredients, what she used. And so for the past 6 years, I've recreated the recipe, but kind of made it my own too. So anyways, this stuffing, my husband absolutely loves it. I could eat it every day. He could eat it every day. So we are going to be using half a pound of French loaf and half a pound of cornbread. I love cornbread stuffing, but I think it's a little too much when it's all cornbread. So the savory white bread really just balances it out and makes it amazing. So I tore the half loaf into little bits. It's better when you tear it versus cutting it up into cubes. It looks more rustic, and also all these little like edges make it even more crunchy. So what we gotta do is, this is very, very essential. You have to dry out your bread. If you don't dry out the bread, your stuffing's just gonna be too moist and soggy and not good. So we're going to pour this all out onto a baking sheet. Oh, I'm using my pumpkin cornbread today for this. Check it out if you need a good cornbread recipe, but if you don't have time, there's so much to do on Thanksgiving, make a box mix, it's still gonna be great. All right, so we'll spread this all out and we're gonna bake this at 250 degrees for 1 hour. While our bread is in the oven, we're going to get our veggies all ready. We're just gonna dice this up. Let's cut up our celery. We just want kind of small pieces here. So I'm probably gonna cut this in half and then chop it up from here. Chop up our carrot. The carrot we're gonna do half moons as well. So we'll chop it in half and chop it into small pieces. So lastly, we'll chop up our apple. And I love the little bit of sweetness an apple gives to this dish. This stuffing's really savory, but then you get a hint of sweetness from the apple, and I think it balances it out really well. We're just going to dice this up. So now we're gonna start cooking up our sausage. I'm just using breakfast links here. So we'll put in half a pound. So we'll turn on our stove to like medium. So once it starts sizzling, we're gonna just break up this sausage. We want it into little crumbles, not these links. And we're gonna cook it until it's completely cooked through. All right, so our sausage is cooked through. We're going to just remove it into a separate bowl, but you wanna leave all that fat in the pan. All right, so using the fat left over, we're going to just dump all our veggies in there. And your apple as well. If you need a little bit more oil, you can always add some, but the sausage fat should be enough. We're gonna saute this for about 5 to 7 minutes until our veggies are softened. All right, we're gonna season it with just a bit of salt and pepper. My stock doesn't have any salt in it, so I'll probably add a bit more salt than if your stock does. So just be mindful of that. Some cracked black pepper. Mix it in. All right, and we'll turn off our stove. We have our dried bread. As you can see, it's very dry. It's gonna just like crumble like that. That's what you want. When we add that stock, it's gonna rehydrate. So we're gonna add in our thyme leaves, our rosemary, our sage, add in our sausage, and we're gonna add in our veggies. All right, let's mix it all together. Oh, you can smell that sausage and all those veggies. Smells amazing. Let's pour in our melted butter. It's a lot of melted butter, I know, but this is the key. This is gonna make it amazing. Give that a little mix. So stuffing is really easy to make, but adding the stock is the hardest part because it really depends on your ingredients, the environment, the time of day. Like, there's so many factors that goes into how much stock you're gonna use. So we're gonna add maybe like half a cup to a cup at a time. I'll add in a cup to start with. And we'll mix that together. And then we're just gonna let it sit and let all that bread soak up that stock. And then we'll add some more, just bit by bit. You basically want the bread to be moist, but you don't want a pool of stock sitting at the bottom. All right, we're gonna add a little bit more. Mix that. So it's still, some of the bread is pretty hard, so we're still gonna add more stock. Probably though, only half a cup this time. So this is kind of the consistency you want. There is a little bit pooling at the bottom, but there is some hard pieces still, so I know those pieces are gonna soak up that stock. You don't want it too mushy, otherwise, I don't know, it's just gonna be like this mush pile of bread. I like to have still big pieces of bread in there. One little side note about the stock, there's obviously a ton of chicken stock in our stuffing, so you wanna make sure you have good stock. Would be ideal to have homemade stock. From our turkey last video, I used the carcass and I made a homemade turkey stock. So that's what we're using today. Super flavorful and delicious. It's gonna make this stuffing amazing. If you have to buy it store-bought, then of course, buy it store-bought. But if you have the time, make your own, chicken stock, beef stock, whatever kind of stock you want. It's going to take this stuffing from good to absolutely amazing. Last thing we gotta do, season with salt and pepper. Again, if your stock has some salt already in it, you're not gonna need much, but mine doesn't at all. Some pepper in there too. Mix that up. And just make sure you try just a little piece so you know if you need more salt and pepper. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're gonna use a 9x13 baking dish. And we're just gonna dump our mixture in there, if I can do it. So make sure you spread it evenly, but don't press it down in there. You wanna keep kind of some pieces on the top. It creates more of a fluffy stuffing, and also these pieces get nice and crispy on top. So we're gonna bake this at 375 for 1 hour. All right, our stuffing is done, so I'm just gonna serve myself some. Be on the top. Love all those crunchy edges. Smells amazing. All right, let's take a bite. It's really hot. It's a bit salty from the sausage, but has that hint of sweetness from the apple. I love the little crunchy bits on top, like I keep saying. It's absolutely delicious. Just cut a piece of your turkey, drizzle some gravy on this with the stuffing. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. I hope you guys enjoyed my dressing recipe. The full recipe can be found on my food blog at lagameats.com. I've got new delicious dishes coming out every week, so hit a like and subscribe below. I'll see you guys next time. Hey-do!